episode number 12.
Holy shit.
Today, what are we talking about?
We're talking about identity in marriage and motherhood, which is, I feel like something we can all kind of relate to because whether it be marriage or not, I feel like long-term relationships count as well.
You know what? It's funny. I saw this TikTok when it's like, put a finger down. And in one of the TikToks or one of the, questions, she says, who stole whose personality? And at first I'm like, wait, what?
That's true.
Like, wait, hold on. And then I thought about it, and Ethan's like, he's like, I stole like your personality in a way because he's really goofy now and whatnot. And it's funny how you almost like morph into a different person.
Yeah.
When you've been with somebody for so long.
That's so natural though. It's like that whole thing about like dogs start to look like their owners. Well, y'all start to look like fucking each other because that's just a natural thing. If you live with somebody, you start to pick up their habits. It's just like, I mean, for people who aren't like parents of older kids or whatever, but like you hear that stuff growing up where it's like, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are.
Oh, I love that saying, actually.
Yeah, and you hear people like, you could tell when your kid's hanging out with the bad crowd or something because they start doing all these habits and speaking the way they don't usually speak. It's like how influential the people that are closest to us are really to us. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
Which brings us to the whole thing about the show me the picture of trend on Instagram.
I loved that trend because it
really
just brought back all these memories, and I was going through the archives to find some pictures, and I'm like, fuck, dude, just like finding them, like looking at all these pictures of the babies when they were younger, and then like us when we were younger, which was like depressing in itself.
Oh my God, I know.
Right? I actually really liked the trend. I thought it was cool.
I liked it too. I didn't end up doing it because I forgot why, but I was like, it got me looking through my own pictures, and I was just like, damn.
And you know how when you look through pictures, it almost brings back certain feelings and emotions.
You could smell that time. You could feel that time. You could almost think of like a song that represents that time. Yeah. Oh my God, yes. And then it got me thinking too, like, so much has changed.
I know.
So much has changed in these last like 8, 9, 10 years.
It's crazy.
It's like,
I think more for you than for me.
Yeah.
But definitely,
it's still changed.
You're different humans, different people with different hobbies and
different interests.
Right? Yeah. It's so different.
I can't believe I drive a fucking van.
I know.
In what universe?
2013 Crystal would never.
Ever.
Not even consider it in the future.
You wouldn't even caught me. I remember telling Cooley even when we first got married, like, I don't give a shit how many kids we have. We're never getting a damn van. And now I'm like, I can't. I love my fucking minivan. I remember when I had a minivan
and Julio specifically told me, he's like, you were telling him like, this is so cool. And he was like, I will never drive a minivan.
Bianca, you know how long it took me to convince him to finally get the minivan?
I can imagine.
He was holding out to the last
I feel like most guys are like that.
It's because he says that you command no respect on the road when you're driving the Speaking of that, actually, we were on our way up here. We're down here in Oceanside. There was this like a big F-150 truck, and Julio was driving the van.
Yeah.
And so we're like in the passenger seat, and like it's like one of those things where he's trying to cut in, but he's trying to cut in like super, like almost like he's cutting us off or whatever. Yeah. And I was just like, let him go through or whatever. He's like, no, he's acting like a dick. And I was like, don't be that guy. Just let him go through. Yeah. He's like, fine, whatever. And he let him go through, and the truck fucking took off because he was like clearly in a rush for whatever. And then I was like, it got me thinking about that. I was like, oh, I took away like, he was already driving the van, and this guy was driving this F-150, and I'm like, it's not that big of a deal.
That's funny though, because it's totally true. I know a lot of guys who are like, I will never get a minivan, but then their wife gets them a minivan, or like they're forced to drive a minivan, and they're 99% of the time though, after they already have one, they're like, best thing ever. Oh, so convenient.
Julio loves our minivan. Oh, yeah. Like, it's the car we prefer to take for date night. It is so, there's so much room.
Yeah.
There's so much room in that thing, especially in the front seat.
Why do you need room to drive to date night?
Huh?
Why do you need room in the car for date night?
No, for our food. Baby number 3? What?
Well, I'm really excited about this topic, but before we get into it, for those that are here for the first time, I am Bianca, and I'm a work-at-home mom to 2 littles.
And I'm Crystal, a stay-at-home mom to 2 littles. And this is the Messy Buns Coffee Runs podcast.
This is a no bullshit girl talk through all things motherhood and lifestyle, where there's a place for everybody.
Cue the music.
So let's jump into this. Mm-hmm. But before we start, I kind of want to go back to like pre-baby, pre-Julio Crystal. So what is something that you used to do that you wish you still did, or like not even that you wish you still did, something maybe even that you never would do again?
Okay, so you want to know something crazy? I know we were just talking about this, but we were talking about how like becoming a mother, or even just like getting married or getting into a very, very serious committed relationship, you naturally lose parts of yourself that you used to have, right?
Yeah.
And
for sure, and it's totally
natural.
normal.
It's totally natural. But some people struggle harder than others when it comes to dealing with those changes, essentially. I just think about like the way my life is now. It is a 180 from the way my life was even 10 years ago. It was insane. But I feel like the one thing right now that I don't know if I so much miss. Well, yeah. Okay. Miss is the proper word, I guess. I do miss, but this is not pre my husband. This is pre just kids. I miss being able to just get up and travel with my husband anytime we wanted to.
We're always out and about. I mean, you guys were
gone.
in like Puerto Rico and in Washington and like Japan.
We went to fucking Europe for a weekend just because I was like, you have 4 days off. Let's go. Like, let's go for your birthday or something. Like, and you can do that when you don't have kids.
Not as easy when you have kids.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Almost
for
impossible.
me personally, I feel like when it came to struggling with my identity, it comes more with struggling with the motherhood side of it, because I feel like when it came to me and my husband, I outgrew that party phase already. I was ready by the time I met my husband to like get serious. I wanted a partner. I wanted to be serious with somebody. So I was like, I look back on those memories very fondly, but there's nothing I really like miss about it, where I'm like, God, I wish I could do that.
Damn, like if it's like a Saturday night, you're like, fuck, I could be out partying right now.
Yeah. The only time I think I ever felt that was because like the same thing with my friends about how we all had babies at the same time. We all got in serious relationships all the same year. So we all were kind of like.
It made it easier for you guys to like still find new things to do together. It wasn't like you had a bunch of single friends and you were the only one that was in a serious relationship. Yeah. And you saw them all partying. You're like, you know, I can't really go and do that anymore.
Exactly. The only thing I think, I mean, there might have been like 1 or 2 times where I remember I was the first one to move in with somebody. So, I mean, they would all get together on a Friday night and still go out. They still had their serious boyfriends. And then I'm like, it's okay,
different.
You know, it's a little different.
Like, oh my
but
God,
then
we
they all got
together,
very, very serious.
And let's just watch movies.
Let's hang out. I want to hang out, especially when you first move in with somebody. But I feel like after that, we all got in serious relationships at the same time, so that wasn't a big deal. But having kids it'll put the on your brakes about anything with your husband. Let me tell you,
I'm a little bit different because I never was that party girl or went out drinking. And I mean, I also got married when I was 19. I wasn't even legally allowed to drink.
Yeah, you couldn't even. All of us were drinking at your bachelorette. You couldn't drink anything. I remember that.
Bullshit. I need a redo. But yeah, I never really had that, and I never, even if I was 21, I don't think I would be that same person.
You were never that person, even to begin with.
No, I wasn't. And so for me, it was a little bit different. I kind of always craved that, I guess, like playing house type of thing. I've always loved that.
No, that's a perfect
that
way to put it.
me was like the goal, like always. I never was the person that's like, I'll get married eventually. No, like I wanted to be married. I wanted to have kids right away.
Was it something that was constantly on your mind, by the way? That's what I'm curious to know.
No, not really. Not when I met Ethan. So I don't know. That was a little bit different. I was going through like a phase.
We're going to get into all this on the next episode. The next episode's all about the marriage stuff.
Yeah, but no, when I met him, it wasn't like I was looking for a husband. I knew that I didn't want to be like 30 years old and not married yet. I always wanted to have kids really young and get married young. And it just worked out. But I never felt like I missed anything. I think the only thing I missed after having kids was that alone time with my husband. And not just the alone time, because I feel like we are really good at getting alone time now, but
that's still not the same.
Spontaneous
the
outings,
spontaneity.
Just being able to go out and like, let's go. I remember one time we woke up like at 6 o'clock in the morning and he was like, the Cubs are in Arizona, and we literally got up an hour later and went on the road to Arizona, to go watch the Cubs play.
That's it's spontaneity. It's like, you could try as hard as you want to like plan date nights, which
sorry guys, if you guys hear a lot of background noise like airplanes and stuff, we are actually filming, for those who aren't watching on YouTube, we're actually filming a video for this as well, and we are actually having a little staycation at the beach on base. So if you're like helicopters and stuff, it's
just
right
ignore him. We're not in the hood, I promise.
So
the spontaneity, I feel like, is the biggest thing when you have kids that you miss, and like you miss that part of your identity, right? Because I feel like so much of like just a side note, like I think about you couldn't just let that shit go, you know?
I always do. I couldn't let it go this time. The worst is when I'm editing the episodes and I hear it, and like, you know how you have to replay it over and over again to find where to cut it? It's all it is. Or when like you're laughing, you're trying to cut it a certain time. Oh, you just like over and over and over again. Sorry.
Anyways, I could see how that would be a big issue too, like not just in losing your identity, but like an issue in your marriage. If part of what your husband loves about you is the fact that you're so spontaneous, the minute you add them kids, the spontaneity is pretty much gone.
That's, I think, why a lot of people have issues when they have kids. You know what I mean? Like you hear about when people always have kids. Like you mentioned when we were together the last time, you're like, when you ask people like, what age did your parents get divorced? You're like, I think I was like 2. Because and that's got to be why
there's a reason
you lose a lot of what you guys used to have and what like made things fun for you guys. Like, see, for Ethan and I, it was always a little bit different because we were actually more homebodies before we had kids.
You know,
we never were the type of people to get out. We would spend all fucking day playing Mario Kart and ordering food to like, and there was like a fucking like delivery man that would come and be like. Like, and then get out of here. Like,
get out of this cave.
We would literally be in our cave for like days at a time. So when we had kids, it kind of,
you know what? I feel like you guys always kind of knew that it was pretty much a waiting game until you guys wanted to have kids.
Yeah, we'll get into that more in the next episode. But it was more
get into the too much.
It was more of a waiting for me to mature a little bit. I was 19. Give me a break.
I feel like okay, so this is gonna bring us to our next thing, right? Because there's just so much that we could talk about when it comes to this topic. But why do you feel like we're losing pieces of ourselves?
So when I saw this question on the show notes, I thought it was a really fucking good question because if you ask any mother out there, I'm sure somebody can relate to the fact that they feel like they're not, that they either miss themselves or lost that piece of themselves and that they miss it. And they miss, not that you regret having your babies because it's not.
No, yeah, you never do.
But you miss the times before where it was just you and you can be a little more selfish and stuff.
Can we normalize that already? It's like you can, just because someone misses something or misses their old self does not make their present situation any different. Never look at a mom and be like, oh my God, she, misses going out, or she misses partying with her friends, or she misses hanging out with just her husband. It's like, oh, then you should have had kids. Like, that's not what it is. Yeah. There are plenty of things that you could do. You can have a really great job and leave that job for a better job where you feel happier, but doesn't mean you're not going to miss your old job with your old coworkers.
Less responsibilities.
Yeah,
maybe.
Exactly.
I don't feel like I lost a huge piece of myself because, again, like I've always wanted to be a mom, and to me, it was a ticking time until I was ready to have kids. Mostly, like that's what I spent my 4 years of marriage prior to having kids, just waiting to be ready for kids. But at the end of the day, your daily life revolves around your kids and your husband. Yep. It's true, and not saying that like I make my life revolve around my husband, but same for him. His life revolves around me and the kids. Like, it's no longer what do I want to do today. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go get my nails done today.
You become your last priority.
And it's true because you're so busy wanting to be a good mother, wanting to be a good wife and take care of your husband and your kids, just like they do the same for us. So I see 100% why like it becomes almost overwhelming and you lose yourself in so many ways, even just in like the way you dress and the way you do your hair. Like I used to love doing my makeup.
The way I'm fucking dressed.
Do you remember how I used to do my makeup every day?
Yeah. You were like, oh my God. And you could do a glam.
Yeah. And then you have kids.
I miss being fucking skinny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like these are real things. Like it's natural. Like I am somebody, I'm going to be just really, really frank with everybody there. I'm not embarrassed by it, but like I've never in my life and Julio, my son, oh my God, my husband, I keep calling Benjamin Julio. He should have been a fucking junior, but
he should have.
My husband is 6'2", and so when he went through his growing stage, like I didn't know this, but you can get stretch marks from growing. I did not know this.
If you grow too fast.
And he did. He's like he sprouted in the summer, so he has these stretch marks on his back.
Skin elasticity thing too.
Yeah, it's genetics, but like you can get them from growing too fast. I see now, like now online, I've seen a lot of women talk about the taller women when they have longer legs, talk about how they have stretch marks just from like with their teen years when they were growing or whatever. I've never had a stretch mark before. There was not a stretch mark on my fucking body. Yeah. I had kids and suddenly I have stretch marks.
Changes.
And I'm like, oh, whoa, like this is not something I was used to. I'm suddenly like, obviously I gained weight after having 2 kids and I had them back to back and you get busy with life. I gained the most weight
when I was breastfeeding Vivian.
That's okay. And I've been extendedly breastfeeding. I'm trying to wean my daughter off now and she's going to be 11 months. So I'm already going on a year breastfeeding.
It just
and
drains
it's like,
you and you get hungry and then you're bored.
Absolutely. Or not just that.
Like the baby's eating.
You have children that you need to tend to and they're eating. And I'm not going to like, although I'm trying to work on eating healthier with my kids. It's like, they're also not going to be eating fucking chicken and broccoli every single day. I have to make these little kids little humans food they're going to fucking eat. and I'm not making everybody a bunch of different meals. Everybody's just eating what we're eating.
Yeah.
Like there's these things that happen naturally in the progression of like your journey as a mother or even just as a wife where you can't help it, or even just like you gain the happy weight. You know, they talk about like the happy weight in your relationship, even pre-kids. You go out more, you're on date nights more, you order in more, you're like hanging out more. And it's
But do you know what's funny is you're saying all of these things by being overwhelmed by the little humans and the husband, and it's just so much of everybody's needs, but yet you feel so fucking lonely.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Right?
Yes.
And it's like, even though I'm surrounded by all this love and I love my little family, I feel so lonely because
Absolutely.
no, it's day to day, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom, you literally don't really get a lot of adult interaction.
No, unless
especially
you go to
during COVID times.
And especially in the times that we're living in. I became a stay-at-home mom in like the thick, at the very beginning,
before.
almost the correlation with the pandemic. As long as we've been in a pandemic is as long as I've been a stay-at-home mom. And so I have been really struggling with that loneliness.
Yeah.
Like you said, there was this TikTok I watched about this girl. Her baby's probably like only like a month old, and she's just like, I don't like breastfeeding. I fucking hate it. I know you're not supposed to say you hate breastfeeding, but I do. So I went to Target and I got formula. I was like, great, we'll start weaning this baby off. And then, but what happens?
Yeah.
She was mom brain came on, and it was like, well, what happens if because we're in COVID? So she goes on and talking about how her mom brain kicks in, and it's like, oh my God, we're in the middle of a pandemic. People are getting sick. What happens if this is some I Am Legend shit? And we go into a zombie apocalypse, and then formulas use this as a form of currency because moms need it to feed their babies, and I'm over here and I'm still, and I, you know what I mean? Like, no, I can't do that.
And not just pandemic, but these are things that would go through a mother's mind all the time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
like,
before pandemic, I was thinking about this.
I was thinking about this when I was weaning Vivian off, and I felt really guilty, and I'm like, I ended up just weaning because I really hated breastfeeding. But when I was weaning Vivian off, I remember thinking things like, oh my God, I'm a horrible mother. Oh my God, what are people going to think? Oh my God, is this what's best for her? Am I being a bad mom by giving her formula and not giving her the best?
When I can breastfeed, that's the worst part. It's like, you know, if you struggle with breastfeeding and that was already tough in itself and you weren't producing enough milk or whatever. Yeah. But like when you can and you are able to and you have no problem with your supply, no problem with your latching, you just don't like it, you feel like a shit mom because you're just like, there are women who would kill to be able to breastfeed.
Oh, for sure.
And I showed this TikTok to my husband and I was like, this is a very real thing. And he was laughing. He goes, dude, your mind is just like, and I was like, that's not just my mind.
No,
it's like any mom's mind. But I was like, these are thoughts that women have. Like, this is a very real fucking thing. This isn't just me being crazy or me coming up with like me being imaginative. Like, every intrusive thought will come into your head when you become a mom.
Yeah, it's
You
overwhelming.
feel guilty for like breastfeeding. You feel guilty for not breastfeeding. You feel guilty for not liking. You feel guilty for liking. And then you start to feel bad because you're like, other women can't do it.
Yeah,
like,
I felt really guilty like bringing my kids into a crazy world. Like that. Yeah. When I first had Annabelle, at least, like I had that craziness, like that crazy, those thoughts constantly running through my head. I felt so like guilty that I couldn't protect her. And there's only so much I can do. I can't protect. Oh my God. Like the way your mind works after having children is so different.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I cannot think of a time the first year of Annabelle or Vivian's life where I had a thought to myself.
Yeah.
Like a thought that wasn't like every spare moment your brain is being completely taken over by something that you didn't do, something you need to do, something the kids need. What about this? What about that? Are they developmentally behind? Or what do we do? Am I doing everything I can do? It is just so
And I think that's the part where people struggle with and like losing themselves because at one point you were all you ever thought about.
Yeah.
And not in a selfish way, but it is like your thoughts were occupied only
and you had the right
you
to.
And like,
it's just you.
How is school going? Am I going to do well in this class? What am I going to get that promotion? Am I going to, like how much am I have for rent this month? How much am I going to spend out to groceries? I have to buy my friend her birthday gift before I go. Let me remind myself I need to buy myself a birthday outfit for whatever. Like those were all of your thoughts.
Yeah.
And you thought like, oh, like these are big things in my world. And then you start to have kids and you are responsible for these little humans. And you're also responsible for your partner in a sense. They're responsible for themselves. But I mean, in a sense of like,
but
you
like,
need to uphold your end.
Too.
Yes, you need to uphold your end of the relationship, and now suddenly everybody else is a priority minus you. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this is where also a lot of issues in marriage come in because if you, as like we're talking about mothers as women, and we feel already like we're the bottom of our priority list, which is where this whole self-care culture comes from, I think, and that's where it's like rooted in. But if you have a partner that's very gladly letting you take on the burden of taking care of everybody else, and no one's taking care of you. I could see. I get it. I understand why relationships don't work out.
I understand why relationships dwindle after kids. I understand why people go into depression and, develop anxiety and all these other things after kids because everything, it almost feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders and that you are literally, like if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, right? Me getting my nails done over worrying about making sure my kids go to therapy and they see the doctor and they're not behind and all the other things. Me getting my nails done is the last thing I'm worried about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas before, it was the only thing I was worried about. I was like, you know what? I haven't got my nails done in a minute. Fuck the grocery shopping. Sorry, babe, make your own lunch, or I'll meet you later for after dinner. I'm not going to meet you for lunch today. I'm going to go get my nails done. You know what I mean? Like, that was, you could put everything aside for you. Now, like, I got my nails done for the first time in like 6 months, 8 months maybe.
Yeah.
Like, insane, right?
Yeah.
Like, people don't realize that when you have kids, and even sometimes when you get married and you're in a long-term relationship, there is a part of you that will never be anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's overwhelming to think about, and it's sad to think about.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. It's like mourning the loss of a person you used to know and a person you used to be. I will say something. You struck an idea in my mind. You know, we had a self-care episode and we talked about self-care and the importance of like self-care in itself, but it's also like a task. It's also like a task. You know, it's like, I gotta complete self-care today. You know, it's like, but I'm realizing something right now, right? So much of the reason why we're feeling overwhelmed, the reason why we need self-care is because of the laundry list we have to do. Yeah. And this goes even if you don't have kids, because if you live with your significant other, there is always a laundry list of things to do.
You live with somebody, if you work,
if you work,
go to school, like there's always things to do.
But if you're taking care of more than one person than just yourself. Yeah. Okay, than just yourself. I'm realizing like me going to get my nails done is not going to help me feel better, that I need to call to get my son's evaluated for speech, that I need to make a dentist appointment for him, that I need to make my daughter's 1-year appointment, make sure that she's hitting all her milestones. It doesn't help me with the laundry I have to get done, the dishes I have to get done, the dinner I need to make tonight, to make sure that my kids are being read to make sure my husband's laundry is done, to make his lunch because I enjoy making his lunch. The only way you're going to help me relieve myself of this loneliness, this anxiety, this overwhelming things that are going on in my brain is to help me. Yeah. That's what you need to do. If you want to help the woman in your life who's feeling
not just that, like if you have a sister or a cousin or a friend who is a mother, yes, obviously invite her to go do the nice things, take her to get her nails done. Yeah, that helps a lot. Don't get me wrong. It does help. But if you really, really want to help and you really want to
help her with some self-care,
help her.
Offer. Say, what do you have to get done today?
What is it you have to get done, and what is it that I can do?
Maybe you don't feel comfortable. Maybe I don't feel comfortable watching your kids because I'm not a kid person. But what do you have to get? What errands do you need to get done?
Can I make a phone call for you?
Yeah.
Can I do this for you?
Grocery shopping for you? Do you need your dishes done?
Or
do you need help with your laundry?
Coffee today?
Yeah. That's how you help the people in your life with their self-care. Because I'm realizing this now, because when you and I talk and we're talking about taking things off, like when we're unloading off each other or whatever, and we're talking, I notice that the way that we help each other out is by not saying, let's go get our nails done, let's go get our hair done. We never have done that. It's more of like, do you want me to watch your kids while you do this? Or should we get the kids together, that way they play and then we can like hang out and have some coffee? Or like, help me help you off this list. Even when I'm at the house, like you're always asking me about what is it that you need to get done. Okay, well the kids will make them lunch real quick while I pick up the living room. Like, this is the way you take things off somebody else's plate and you help them make their load just a little bit easier.
Because even just knocking one thing off a to-do list makes a huge fucking difference.
Or like, hey girlfriend, like I'm heading to the grocery store because I need to go get groceries today. Instead of you leaving your house and paying the cart fees for Instacart, Venmo me some money and I'll get you what you need off your list today. Like, that's the way we should help each other out. That's the way we should consider helping people out. Because paying for their nails or having them to stop to get their nails done, although those things are great, don't get me wrong.
But sometimes it can be a hassle because it's like, okay,
I got to find a babysitter when I don't.
And even if you don't have to find a babysitter or your husband's there to watch the kids, it's kind of like, fuck, like I can be doing all these other things that are more of a priority than getting my nails done. You know what I mean? And so, because sometimes it just adds more harm than good. But I mean, all the good intentions, right?
All the good intentions,
so, we talked about what other people can do, but what can we do? What is it that we can do as moms? Now, I'm guilty of almost every single thing I'm about to tell you guys. Almost every single one. But you know what? Just because I'm guilty of it and just because I don't do it all the time doesn't mean I shouldn't at least keep trying. Yeah. So, for example, I really love getting my nails done. I don't do it often at all, but I do love getting my nails done. Yeah. Ethan and I were going to go on a date night, and he's like, now is the only time. He's like, we have it. So the way our babysitter works is like, she charges a certain rate for like the first 3 or 4 hours. And after that, the rate goes down significantly. So if we stay out basically make it worth her while. Yeah. The longer you stay, the cheaper she is almost, right? Yeah. So Ethan's like, fuck it. 4 or 5 hours. What's not going to hurt, right? And he's like, let's go get our nails done. And I'm like, oh, I just don't want to spend a date night getting my nails done. He's like,
Yeah.
I'll go with you. I'll get a pedicure with you. We'll make it a date, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah, I bet it looked like
amazing.
so much fun.
It was
you guys
so
packed
much fun.
Snacks. I looked like such a good time.
It was a freaking blast.
General loss of freedom that I feel like is really, really hard to feel like you're ever going to get back.
I'm
for sure one day you will, sort of in its own way.
I feel like already. So Annabelle's going to be 5 in like 2 weeks.
Oh my God, that is fucking insane.
But yeah, so another thing I have on my list of ways you can, I guess, find more of yourself. Date nights, obviously. I think we talk about date nights so much, and they're so fucking important. I'm going to reiterate one more time.
I'm going on one with my husband tomorrow.
Date night is the fucking best because it brings you to that place before the kids, before you're at dinner table, and it's like, don't eat that or eat your food. Why aren't you eating your food? Do you want something else? Mom, I want water. It brings you back to the place it was just you two.
Oh, yes.
It is so important.
Love that.
My biggest thing to like get back to yourself, just get the fuck away from your kids. That's all it is.
Them kids don't care.
It is that fucking simple. You don't have to get your nails done. You don't have to spend the hour sitting in a salon chair. Just get away from your motherfucking
Just
kids.
have reliable care.
Yeah.
And then just hang out.
Yeah.
Just chill.
Do nothing. Okay, for example, when Ethan was gone, my kids spent a lot of time at Mom's house. Crystal.
Oh, yeah.
I would wake up in the
that was
morning.
the best thing for you.
I remember one day specifically, I had to go to the ER the night before, so I had a little bit of an excuse.
Yeah, I remember this.
But I literally did not get out of bed all day. I Postmated food.
That's the dream.
Dude, it was
That's
amazing.
the dream.
And it's not that hard to do it. Like, just have your husband take the freaking kids.
Yeah.
And if you're like a mom who splits custody with your baby daddy,
Yeah.
take advantage. Don't do anything. Don't get your errands done. Don't get your errands done that day.
Just
I know.
put it
I
off.
know. Don't do your errands. Don't do that homework. Don't do that schoolwork.
Yeah.
Do nothing.
Just
let me tell you.
chill.
I'm not even lying, Crystal. I'm not even being like dramatic. Those days were a complete reset for me to completely tackle on the week.
Yeah.
And I have more of the mentality is like, I would rather have one, like, suffer a lot during the week, just have one day to myself.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I'm the same.
Honestly,
give me one
the
day of
only
like
thing-
really tough push through where I got to
only
get everything
thing-
done.
Yeah. What about you? What else do you think?
I feel, well, I mean, that's the biggest thing. I think when it comes to feeling like your old self, I think the biggest part of feeling like understanding when you've lost your identity, you've lost yourself in the wave of motherhood and wifehood or man or whatever it is,
Yeah.
is kind of also starting with the groundwork that this is your life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to miss the person that you were. It's totally okay to do that.
it's
That's
normal.
that's not abnormal. But also never worrying too much about getting back to that person. Like, there's no part of me that desires to get back, because I feel like that's where some people misconstrue things. It's like, I miss my old self so much. It's like, but do you want to be that person again?
I think that's a really good point. It kind of leads me to my next point. It's okay to like lose yourself, but be completely happy and content with your new self. Mm-hmm. So, for example, I love myself more now than I did before. I love my life 1,000 times more. Do I miss having a little extra freedom? Yeah, sure I do. It kind of sucks sometimes. But I know, like I said, I know I will have those moments eventually.
Yeah.
It might not be,
you know,
it might not be my whole life where I have less responsibility, but I'll have my days.
Mm-hmm.
And I look forward to those days. But at the end of the day, life is too fucking short to sit there dreading or dwelling on the fact that your life isn't what it used to be.
Yeah.
Enjoy what it is now. I'm
Enjoy
sorry, but there's nothing
what
else
it
to
is
it.
now. And I promise you, I like learned this over time, that if you look at your present circumstance and I don't want to say like make the most of it, but like live in the present. What does that thing says is depression comes from the past and anxiety comes from worrying about the future.
Yeah.
Depression comes from worrying about the past. Anxiety comes from worrying about the future. Be present. If you're just worried about what's going on now, you're going to see all the beautiful new ways that, although yes, motherhood is fucking hard.
It is.
Motherhood
it is exhausting.
Exhausting. It is hard.
Motherhood and marriage.
It is the toughest thing life is going to throw at you. But I would not trade it, obviously, for anything in the world. But the amount of things that you could embrace in this new identity, that's where I think the work needs to start. Before anything else, the work needs to start in understanding that you are a new person. And that is okay, because I hope you do change as a person. You're not the same person you were at 10, that you were at 15, that you were at 20, 25, 30. So it is okay for things to change. It is okay for life to change. And it's okay for your identity to mold and be fluid as you go on, and like life hands you new things, but learn to embrace every single wave that's being thrown at you.
Do you know what I think is the big problem too? Is the comparison. You look at
comparison is a thief of fucking joy.
I think a lot of people, and I'm guilty of it. I look at people on Instagram who have no kids, and I'm like, they're going to the gym, and they're making all these yummy foods and 3-course meals, like, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, fuck, dude, what it must be like to have like all that freedom, and to have no worry in the fucking world but yourself. But then I think about it, I'm like, I was that age too.
Yeah,
I've had it.
You did all that,
and you know what?
Oh, dude,
I don't get. But you think about, I'm like, they don't get to wake up on Saturday morning and watch your kids play soccer. Like they don't get to. By the way, kids started soccer, and I literally lived my best life on Saturday.
She was so dope.
Sat there with my lawn chair, watched my kids play soccer, went home afterwards, had a yum. They was literally living my dream life. And so I'm like, they don't get to do these things. They don't get to see the joy on the face of these beautiful humans when you take them to the beach or take them to go do these outings. Like, they are living their best life. I'm living mine.
So, okay, interesting you say this. I have a few thoughts on that, right? I would say one of two things. Yes, comparison is they're fucking having the best time of their life. Comparison is the absolute thief of joy.
Yeah.
Stop comparing yourself. I know it's natural. I do it too every once in a while where I'm like looking at somebody, especially the thing I think I miss the most is my metabolism or being able to look the way I used to enjoy looking. But now I'm realizing too, I was like, but you know what? If you really sit back and think about it, for me personally, it's been one of those things where I was that skinny, I was that fit, or I lived that life. I lived that life. My hair looked that long or whatever. And I'm like, but was I as happy as I am now? Not even fucking close. Being thin, being whatever.
That's actually a very fucking good point.
Yeah, like it did. I was that person, and I was not happier than I am right now. And not just this, but like what you say about like the joy of seeing your kids. Here's the thing. We as women, the whole point, I feel like, of feminism, a main point of it is the ability to choose. And for some women, having kids is not, they don't want that. And
it's not something they want. Yeah.
Wonderful for you. I am so proud of those women because I'm like, good for you for knowing what you want.
And being able to be like, I'm not going to give into the societal norms.
Exactly. Having kids is not for everybody. Yeah. Seeing joy on kids' face, they can't see it the way we see it because we're moms, right? Or even because even before I was a mom, I still just didn't see it, right? But I think about this, like, when you think, like, because we don't want to be preachy over here and say that, like, but you don't understand the joy of seeing your kids when you buy them something, or like not even buy them something, but like
take them
to the beach or spend time with them, or like, oh my God, those kisses.
Some women that doesn't bring that thought of that doesn't bring them joy.
So instead, but because that doesn't bring them joy, other things bring them joy. I'm going to tell you something that this like brought up right now for me. Having my son give me kisses when I ask him for some, but because he wants to give them to me, is literally the most heart melting thing. I did not know something like this could exist. That type of love could exist.
So cute.
I understand on the other side of that coin, I used to really love to travel with my husband.
Yeah.
There was nothing like it. We had the time of our lives before we had kids. You could easily find yourself sitting back, like being that woman that's like, I used to travel, I used to do this, now I have kids. But that woman doesn't understand it because she doesn't have kids. Like the joy of having kids, you know, as hard as it is. And I think about something, I'm like, she may not have that joy from that. And that is okay.
Yeah.
She can't understand your joy from having kids. It's like, that's fucking stressful. I like sleeping in.
I wouldn't understand the joy of getting like a promotion at work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, to me, that's what you have to remember. You can't understand each other's joys. I will tell you something.
Find your own happiness.
You would think that like, you look at somebody on Instagram and they're traveling to the Maldives or they're traveling somewhere and you're like, God, it looks so beautiful. If I didn't have kids, we could afford to do that. Or if I had more time, I could afford to do that. If I was just a little bit more this, or if I didn't have this, I would be able to do those things. Remember that these things are all highlights in all its glory, because traveling, and I've traveled, is a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
And as much as I love traveling,
I'm not a traveler.
I could not travel full time. Like, as much as I love it, I could never travel full time as a job.
Yeah.
I could never travel full time to make an income or for Instagram. Mm-hmm. And there have been times where I could see myself saying, like, instead of taking that weekend that we have to travel and go somewhere because it's a free weekend for both of us, let's just stay home. Like, that would not bring me joy, although it looks beautiful in pictures. And yeah, when you're sitting there dealing with tantrums or whatever, and you see this woman on the beach, it's like, God, I'd rather be there right now. Yeah. Oh, you guys have no idea. Sometimes you got to be careful what you're wishing for. The grass is not always greener on the other side. And that's the thing to remember when you're comparing yourself to other people. Yeah. The grass is not always greener on the other side. And you may not know it, but maybe you're just more, you think you're a traveler, but you're more of a homebody.
Yeah.
You're way more of a homebody. Things like that wouldn't give you joy. Know where your joy is. and understand other people's joy is different.
I think that comes from really knowing yourself and knowing
who you
are.
Because and being honest with yourself. Not the person that you think you are on Instagram, but be honest with yourself when you're sitting with your thoughts. Who am I as a person? Like you've told me, you're like, I fucking hate traveling.
I don't like traveling.
I don't fucking like it.
I hate getting on a plane. I like being there and doing new things, but I hate being on a plane. I hate foreign foods. I hate like
and how much traveling's picked up and like being the cool thing those last couple of years.
Yeah,
like,
to me it's not really
I know
my
it's probably
thing.
like weird for you to say because people be like, oh my God, like you don't like to travel? Like who doesn't like to travel?
Yeah,
it's like,
it's not
you're just like, that's never been my cup of tea.
I just don't like it. To me, I would have more fun doing daily outings with my kids than going on a big vacation that might be stressful and whatnot. I just don't enjoy it. But I think that if you are a mother and you resonate with this episode, I would really love to hear from you. And if you have anything to add that we can share with other people, I think that would be phenomenal because
also
this is only two
opinions.
Two different opinions.
I think too, the big thing I think to like really touch on really fast is I know we're talking about like identity and the changes like motherhood happens like on you as a person. It's also okay if you felt like you didn't lose your identity during motherhood, if you actually gained one.
There's nothing wrong with it.
I know you have talked about it, and you could probably talk about that a little bit about how like you feel like you started to come into more of who you felt like you were as a mother.
So I was never the type of person who enjoyed like the partying and like being by myself. I never liked being single. That just wasn't my thing. And even when Ethan and I got married, we knew we wanted kids young-ish, but we knew that obviously we wanted to mature a little bit more, make more money and stuff first. But I kind of felt like my life was revolving around when I was going to have kids. Like it was just a waiting game until I had kids.
I feel like that was exact when you were talking about like staying in with Ethan and stuff. I was like, I feel like your life was like almost like setting up. Everything you were doing was to set up to have kids.
Yeah. So our goals revolved around wanting a family, and at least, you know, me at least, because I know Ethan was always like, we'll have kids whenever you're ready and whenever
more patient.
The time is right. But I was more of like, I want kids and I want them now. I knew since I was so young that I wanted to be a mother. And I knew that I wanted to have kids young, and I felt like I became my better self when I became a mom. I'd never strived to be that person that I was before. Yeah. Like that person to me, I look at that person, I just like going back to the Instagram challenge that showed me, you know, I would look at pictures of me and Ethan. I just remember being just really sad, really unhappy, really just like not comfortable in my own skin. And even though I was like at my thinnest, I look at him, I was like, I was so unhealthy. I just was so like wrapped up in everybody else's world and not in my own. I could not, I wasn't happy. I wasn't who I wanted to be. I knew that I knew my best self would come when I had kids. So for me, it was kind of the opposite. I don't feel like I ever lost myself. I feel like I gained so much more as a mom than I did losing what I didn't have before.
And see, things like this, those are things are okay. Like, I feel like the norm is also to like identify and like, okay, with me, I would say I'm like somewhere in the middle where there are definitely times where being a mom is hard, and I'm like, God, I miss my old self, as in like, I don't miss myself ever single. I don't ever miss any part of that life. I do miss before me and Julio had kids. I miss that, not just like alone time, but just like the, like less responsibility. At least it was just ourselves, right? There are definitely times where I miss being top of the priority list, because I know I'm my husband's priority and he's mine, and I love being someone's priority, you know what I mean? And I miss that. I've worn that part of myself before, but I've also don't feel like I've lost myself so much as like, oh my God, I've gained so much more. I am so much more the person I want to be as a mother than I ever would have achieved without having kids. Because part of the growing or part of like the changing I've done has come from the fact that I've had kids, and you have to like really be as selfless as you possibly can. And you don't know that type of selflessness unless you have kids.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Or unless you take care of somebody.
Yeah, so it's fine. I mean, I have a little bit, I know I'm probably not the norm, to be honest.
But I'm sure there's someone out there that would be able to identify with their like, no, I feel like much better now that I have kids.
I feel like I'm my better self now that I have kids. So.
I love that.
Well, I say we get into some freaking tea time. And let me just say this real quick. Hold on, pause. So let me start this tea time off by just saying something real quick. I am very passionate about this topic, and I might go a little ham. But I promise you, I don't mean to offend anyone. I don't mean to say that if you guys do it this way that it's wrong. These are my personal opinions on this topic.
Yeah.
I just gotta make that blatantly clear. If you do this and this is how your marriage works, That
Do
is
you boo?
Hey, if you are happy with it, like we say in almost every episode when we talk about marriage, if you feel respected and you're happy, then you do you, boo boo. But these are our opinions.
Yeah.
So, Crystal, would you like to start us off with the burning question for today?
The burning question was, what do you think? What do you think about men expecting their wives to look a certain way?
So let me
break it down now.
So this is very interesting because Ethan was telling me that this is a very common thing. And he was telling me like the overwhelming majority of men agreed when they were having this conversation that they will leave their wives if they don't look a certain way anymore. You want to piss me off? He did it. Okay? And he straight up
the audacity's on sale at the store.
Just to make
and
it
they
very
made sure
clear,
to clear the shelves.
For real. And just to make it clear, my husband does not think like that. He's not going to leave me because I gained weight. That he was actually pretty shocked too that this was the overwhelming majority.
Yeah.
Right? Here are my thoughts on this topic.
Yeah.
So you're telling me, unless I'm a size 2 or 4,
or I look the way I looked when
or
we met.
I look the way I look when I was 19 years old, after having 2 of your babies, that you will leave me. Is that what you're telling me? So,
wow.
So this is my thought on it. Cool. You better have a 6-pack.
Yeah.
You better never lose
standard.
those muscles.
Yeah, exactly.
You better never gain any weight either or get a little chunky monkey, because you know what? If you do, I'm out.
Yeah, that's my pass.
Does it go both ways?
Yeah.
In a marriage.
It better go both ways.
In a marriage. Now, our marriage is clearly not like that. My husband can gain some weight, he can lose some weight. I don't give a fuck. If in your marriage, this is the standard, right? Like, I cannot gain weight, otherwise my husband won't love me, right? First of all, how does that not fuck with you mentally?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I've gained a decent amount of weight since having our kids, right?
I'd be miserable if I was constantly worried about
I would be offended. So you're telling me that your love is 100% conditional on the fact that
it's conditional.
I look the way I look when I was 18 fucking years old, had this crazy metabolism, crazy hormones. Now, I think it's okay as long as you have the same expectations.
Yeah.
If that is the ground, now I would probably never feel truly 100% unconditionally loved.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if it's the way, if that works for you, great. But it better be both ways.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a feminist. I would never consider myself a feminist by any means. I do believe in some aspects of, like, feminism, and I believe in some aspects of, people who are not feminists or whatever you want to say. But in this case, I cannot get behind the fact that you will leave me if I gain weight. Because to me, that tells me you do not love me for me then.
No.
So you don't. You love me because I look a certain way.
What are you going to do when I'm 50 and I'm wrinkly?
Yeah, what happens then? Where is our marriage then? Like, I don't understand.
So then this isn't a marriage. It's just a partnership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I work full time. I am a full-time student. I'm with these kids full time. Yes, I can find the time to go to the gym, but do I really want to fucking throw that on my plate? Honestly, no.
Yeah.
Honestly,
you should be helping me clear this plate. As we said earlier, you should not be helping me fill it.
Throwing more shit on my plate and making me feel like I have to handle all of this.
Yeah.
To me, it is unfair to expect that of your wife. I think it is, you really are not truly completely in love with I can't say that either. I guess what I will say is that I would never feel 100% loved.
Yeah.
If you put those standards on me.
I'm so mad thinking about it.
Yeah. That's just my 2 thoughts. I'm going to end it there because I can go on forever.
This goes back to, like, I feel like this goes kind of back to the same thing. I very much believe that men should not have a say in women's issues.
Yeah.
You don't have a uterus. You
body.
don't have a say.
Yeah.
You don't have a say on shit. It just makes me so mad.
It rubs me
all
really
sorts
bad
of the wrong
way.
way. Now, here's the thing. I am all for continue to try to put effort, because let's just be serious. Like, we want our partners to put effort in the way they look for us, and we should do the same, but we're holding ourselves to the same standard. Mm-hmm. I don't think that this is a pass to just, like, okay, let yourself go and not just be it.
Not. Yeah.
But holding yourself to a standard to also not let yourself go for your health, for the sake of your children, and for the sake of the spiciness in your relationship is one thing.
Yeah.
But doing it because it's almost like a condition of your love is a manipulative in the worst way possible.
I think it's even more manipulative when I rely on you financially.
Yeah.
And I rely on you as like the head of the household. So you're basically telling me if I lose weight, or if I gain weight and I don't look the way you want me to look, then I lose my husband. I'm going to be a single mom. I'm not going to have anybody to support me financially after I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't have any work experience, may not have a degree, may have, you know what I mean? I don't have anything else going for me. So you're basically manipulating me into looking a certain way because you feel like you hold that power over me.
So here's the thing.
And that rubs me wrong too.
Playing devil's advocate, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you were the type of woman that got dressed up at all hours of the day. Okay, so devil's advocate here. If let's say me and Holy, because trust me, we are not like that at all. But let's say I was the type of woman who was like super into makeup and I got glam every single day. I was the type of woman who got dressed to go to the fucking grocery store.
Yeah.
I was just, those women, right, that are like super extra.
Absolutely.
We would call them extra. If I was extra all the time. And my husband loved that about me. And that's something that he was really attracted to. And I was just one of those women that no matter what, I was over the top whenever I did whatever. Let's say I have kids and suddenly you get tired, you can't be as glam anymore, right?
Yeah.
And he's having a hard time because it's like, like that's part of your personality. You being extra is like a part of your personality I really like. Now, I get that. Yeah. I understand that being like, I kind of miss when you used to like get dressed up to go to even the grocery store. But in that case, if you love somebody, and this is just a general trait that you like about them, then you do what you need to do for her to let her get ready. Yeah. You're taking care of that baby. You're cooking the dinner. You're doing whatever it takes while she does what she needs to do to get glam. And fair is fair. Yeah. You get what you want. She gets what she wants. And there's no unfair expectations there.
I think it's different to like see. So I'll get personal. I gained a lot of weight since having mostly Vivian. And it's never for me. So for me, it's like, okay, Ethan worked a lot. And he was not, at this point when I was gaining the weight, Ethan was not into fitness like he is now. And so when I started gaining the weight, it was honestly, he wasn't helping either. Yeah. He was going for the late night snack runs. He was the one getting the ice cream. And do you want this? And if I would say no, so he would be the one doing all the late night snack runs and getting the esquites and all of these things. And
my husband's
when
the same
I would
way.
Tell him like, babe, I'm really trying to focus on my health and like I'm really wanting to lose weight. He'd be like, but babe, you look beautiful. And just like, here's an extra thing. Now, it goes both ways, right? Like you can't, if he were to ever, which he never has, but if he ever turned to me and was like, babe, you need to lose weight, or you know what, I think you need to lose weight. Motherfucker, you're the one making me this way. Yeah. No, it goes both ways. And then when Ethan started getting into fitness, he still eats like shit. Therefore, we eat like shit. Therefore,
yeah, it's a trickle effect.
I'm not, well,
but he's exercise. His job is literally exercise. So it'd be different if his job didn't require him to do exercise and then he was still trying to fit gym time in.
Yeah. So in a situation like that, I know for my health, I need to lose weight. Yeah. I know for my mental health, I'm not happy being heavier. I want to lose weight. I lost a decent amount of weight recently and I feel better. Mm-hmm. I want to keep that going. Yeah. I want to keep that moving for me.
Yeah, not for anything else.
Or not for him. Now, I'm not saying that he maybe doesn't like me losing weight because I'm sure he does.
Yeah, he reaps the rewards
I'd be stupid to sit here and be like, my husband likes me bigger.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
no,
yeah, exactly.
I feel like my husband still loves me no matter what.
But
I've never felt less loved.
The condition of love is not based upon the way you look to a good extent, right? Attractiveness is important. I like what you said about that because that's true. Like I've talked to Julio about this, right? Because I have no. Me personally, when I look at bodies, I don't think I've ever, when you have like a body you like maybe envy or like a body you'd like to like achieve or whatever, I'm not really big into like the BBL movement. No, I have no butt whatsoever, but I have no desire to have one. I just have a desire to be like smaller again.
My smaller self, yeah. Yeah. My healthier self, that's all it is.
Exactly. And
I mean, yeah, being thin helps, but I mean, my healthier self, I want to be healthier for my kids.
Exactly. I'd rather be healthier because I want to have energy to play with my kids. Yeah. But I think about, like, okay, with my husband, right? We both have gained weight since we got together. With kids, jobs, work, life, just in general, right? It happens. I still am attracted to my husband. I still love him. He's still gorgeous to me. But that doesn't change the fact that if he were to get super into his fitness right now and he were to get muscles and a six-pack, doesn't mean I would have been like, I'm reaping the rewards of that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but no part of it is like, no part of me is like, at any point am I looking at him and be like, you're gaining weight and I do not want to be with that.
And
like,
you know what?
No,
you lost your six-pack and your muscles and you are a little bit chubby now. That maybe really isn't going to work. He was
right? Really fit. Yeah. He was super into his fitness, like hitting the gym every single day. And And it's like, life happens. And if you can gain the weight together, you can lose it together. But no part of me would ever think in my right mind would ever be like, because he's gaining weight, I am therefore leaving you. Like, fuck that.
To me, it just shows that your love is completely conditional. And you really don't love me for who I am, not just who I look like. There's a difference between saying, you know what? If you gain weight, let's make sure that we stay healthy. Let's make sure we keep a healthy lifestyle to make sure that for our overall health. I believe in being healthy. I believe in health and wellness. I believe in eating the right way. I believe in exercising. This is what my lifestyle. I want you to be a part of that same type of lifestyle. I want my wife to want to enjoy fitness. That is different.
I think
that is very, very
you know what I think
different.
is in this too, it's just like let's say me and Julio were like that, where he was just like, you need to look a certain way or else I'm not going to be with you, and I'm insecure and I'm like, fuck, like I have kids with this guy, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And let's say I do lose a bunch of weight and I get skinny again, the way let's say he has a certain weight for me in mind and I reach that weight. But in order to reach that weight, because I'm probably doing it in unhealthy ways to like not eat, not enjoy things or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're okay with me being so unhappy to please your eye, that to me tells me 10 times more about the person that you are. Because there's a difference, right? Like if I were to be like my 500-pound life, obviously that's the same thing here too. But this is unhealthy, and this goes into the pendulum. You swing the pendulum way the other way. Yeah. But if my misery it does not matter so long as you're pleased with what you're looking at, fuck you.
There's a problem. Yeah, there's a problem for sure.
And there's one thing if we're like, okay, like remember that trainer guy who started drinking, him and his wife were both trainers, and then he started drinking soda to understand why his clients couldn't cut it, and then he had a hard time quitting. Like that for them, right? Because for them it's a lifestyle, and that's not the way she met him, and for them that's an active lifestyle that they keep. It's not just metabolism. When he gained all that weight or whatever to try to like identify with his clients, she was like, okay, now time to like get back to it. But that's something that they both share. That's an activity that she's losing weight.
I don't think it's so much that like, it's not so much like, oh my God, he's gaining weight. I think it's, oh my God, he's being really unhealthy.
Yes.
I don't like the unhealthiness.
If our date nights, our idea of a date night is let's hit the gym for 2 hours and you're no longer doing that, it's like we're also losing our identity as a couple. That has nothing to do with so much of like what
we're talking mostly about men who are saying that you need to look a certain way,
or they have the audacity. You know what? You just burned a fire in my belly. The men that have the audacity to blame your weight gain for the reason, use that as the reason why they cheat. Forget even leaving.
Let's not even go there.
Let's not even go there.
I can't even go there.
The reason for why they cheat.
No. There's another problem.
Mija, you didn't keep it together. Or, if you don't look like that, he's going to get it somewhere else. And then
I hate that saying.
I hate that saying.
Oh, me too.
But the men who use it, they're like, but you're not the same. You are too much like you're too into the kids. You have no time for me. You gain weight. You don't put any effort in yourself anymore.
Yeah, those are all code words.
You know what? Let me tell you something. Yes, while I agree that you should be putting, because it should be both ways though, right?
Should be, yeah.
But you should be putting effort for each other, because it can't just also be like, great, we're married and now you're with me and then that's it, and now you're stuck here for life, so now I can just like let it all hang out. Like, no. Part of like having a healthy marriage, I feel like, is like the date nights, is the act of continuing to pursue each other, the act of like still dating each other, getting to know each other. So that in itself is a problem. But not giving somebody the opportunity to change it, not giving somebody the opportunity to be like, hey, honey, you know what? Let's sit down and talk about this. We've been fighting a lot. I'm really unhappy, and this is why. I feel like with the kids have come into the picture and they're kind of like messing up our routine. I kind of just miss you. I miss us both getting dressed up. Talk about it. I miss both of us getting dressed up and going out.
Because I can guarantee you, if
you don't give her the opportunity,
I can guarantee you, if you turn around and your husband tells you these things and he's like, I'm unhappy because I feel like you're not getting ready enough like you used to, and I miss you feeling confident and looking like confident and going out with me and doing this and that, and you sit there and be like, I'm sorry, but I got all these fucking kids. I got this and that. You know what? He just told you what he's missing.
What he needs.
It's your responsibility to be like, you know what? My husband has needs too. Yeah. I need to do this, this, and that.
And then you communicate with him. You know what, honey? I would like to get dressed, or I don't have the energy.
Too busy.
Yeah. So why don't you take the afternoon? Yeah. Why don't you take care of these kids? And then I will do myself a favor. I will get dressed.
And then we'll go on a date.
And we'll go on a date. Yeah. And you can see me glam, but you have to take care of these kids, because it takes all of my energy to watch these kids, and I have no energy to get ready. Yeah. You need to pick one or the other. Yeah. If you'd like to see that part of me come out, I got no problem with it. I don't mind giving you what you want, but you need to pick up the slack somewhere so I can have a little bit of alone time to get all of that ready. Yep. Stop expecting. I really hate it when men expect women to be like, do it all. Well, you need to be a mother. You need to take care of these kids. You need to cook and you need to clean. You also need to contribute to the household. And I also expect you to look just the way you did before you have kids.
Yeah.
But motherfucker, you ain't got to do shit but bring home a paycheck.
Yeah.
You got me fucked up. No. No.
Well,
it's a balance.
It is a balance.
I get if you want to stay attractive for your partner. That is all wonderful.
It's totally
Communicate
fine.
that with your partner. But then also, what are you doing to help your partner to make sure that they stay attractive?
It is a balance. If that's what works for you guys, then by all means, do what works for you.
We're just talking about us.
This is a burning question, unpopular opinion, if you will. It's just the way we feel about it.
You know what?
I'm sure we're not the only ones.
I never liked. You always really liked makeup. I never.
Yeah, you've never
I
been into
hated
makeup.
wearing makeup. I've never been into makeup.
Yeah.
But I'm really lucky because it just goes to show you, right? Like, my husband is not into women who wear a lot of makeup.
I didn't
marry a man who
likes.
likes a full glam. He does not like. He likes, like, right now how we're at the beach and like my hair's kind of like just loose and like that's his favorite look, is like an all natural type of look.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're lucky for you. Lucky for you.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode.
Oh my God, that was a good episode.
This is a really good episode. So next week we are talking all things.
We're gonna get really juicy next week. Next episode is gonna be good.
We're diving deep into our marriages.
Yes.
We're talking about getting married young versus a little bit older and the challenges we had, and we're going a little bit more into military life too with this one. So stay tuned for next week. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And
as always, if you guys have any questions or just want to let us know, we love it when you guys hit us up in the DMs and let us know about the episode.
Yes.
Like those are my favorite messages
Even
to get.
if your opinion is different than ours, I love hearing it.
Yeah.
Send it to us on Instagram. We always put a little sticker up. Feel free to message us and share your thoughts.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Messy Buns and Coffee Runs. We can't wait to chat with y'all next week.
Toodles.
Peace.